Hi. So, uh, yeah, got home kind of late. Had some technical issues. It's been fun. Welcome. We'll bring on my wife now. Upgraded version. Check that out. So, for those that aren't familiar, just in case for some reason, my wife does a bunch of game streaming, and this is her like digital avatar. It's referred to as a VTuber. So we're going to use that, and instead of just like a static image that lights up, you actually have one that moves and interacts. We figured out a way to do this on my stream and not just hers. So kind of cool, right? Because it actually has some life. Say hi, honey. So today I'll be pretty casual. We'll talk about a few things, and you all who watch regularly probably know a lot of this stuff. But oh, is her voice not coming through? I know why. It's because I'm a dum dum. No, no, I can. No, no, no. I hear you. They don't, and I know why. 1 second. Secondary technical issue. Okay, just talk for a second, honey. I'm gonna make sure this is picking up correctly. There it is.
Blah, blah. Hi. Yay.
Okay, now everybody should be able to hear my wife.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see you. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining us this evening.
We did it.
Yay.
I am a tech professional, I promise.
I know it's great having a great technical support on hand.
My skills are in breaking things. I want to be very clear.
But somehow you find the resolution in breaking them, though.
I leave that to engineering to figure out how to fix what I've broken. I just break
That's fair.
Okay, so we got it. We got it figured out. Anyway, so again, this is my wife. She goes by ChibiFayth. I'll probably just mostly call her Honey. Let's be honest. But we'll talk about a few things. And for those that like watch every video, you kind of know some of the stuff that's coming up. But I actually kind of want to, as our preamble or precursor, get your thoughts on what I'm doing in the main fish room. But before we do that, we're going to have a poll. I'm going to put this poll up. Don't answer right away. Take a moment and you know, think about your answer here. Maybe I should just prep it and then... This will be a yes/no. So let's explain the concept. Honey, do you want to explain like the basics of the video you sent me as this idea? Because this was your idea.
How long ago?
The video you sent me is Pokemon related, but the concept of the video that we talked about.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. We watched a lot of videos. I'm so sorry. So we thought it'd be really fun because I've learned to love fish, but I really don't know the names of them. We thought it would be fun to have Bentley here, my husband, put a picture of a fish up and see if I can try to guessing it or what I would name it if I can't figure out what I would name it or what it is.
So this would be something where we'll do a video, not a live stream, because that would it's a little easier to edit it all together. But basically, we'll take fish that we'll start freshwater, but maybe we expand. Maybe you guys give suggestions that have a lot of common names. And so I did prep one, and we'll do just this one.
Oh no!
Chat, don't spoil anything. Okay, I have a picture of a very popular freshwater fish. And if you can guess its name, it will be incredible. But I would just like to know what you think this thing is called. And a common name, not a scientific name. So like, right, how We just generically call all the rainbow fish. Rainbow fish, that would be kind of close to a common name, and there's some other like easier ones, like how I have the running river rainbow fish, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this. I might have to share it with you.
Oh, I see it.
Okay, good,
Oh
good,
my
good.
goodness.
Don't spoil it, chat.
Uh, it- it's fresh water, yeah?
This is freshwater.
It looks like a weird sea slug thing.
Bring it right over here.
Oh, I see it. Oh, okay. I'm dumb. Apparently, I'm blind. I did not see that was like the top of its head. I thought it was two
Go.
slugs.
Make it a little
There we go.
bigger. Yeah, maybe that
Oh, there we
helps.
go. There we go. There we go. Aha. Okay.
Stephen P.
You know what? I have no idea what the F this fish is called, so I'm going to call it Big Brain.
All right,
Big Brain fish.
big brain fish. Big brain fish. So the common name for this type of fish is called a flower horn.
Oh, okay.
Now, I will ask you this:
Yeah.
do you think that anything in the name flower horn makes sense just looking at this fish?
You know, actually, yes. And let me explain why.
Yeah, go for it.
So the markings I feel on its forehead, especially around the bump where the horn would be, has almost like designs like little petals. So almost like it almost looks like one of those like really like closed off like flowers that is about to bloom or something. So I can see why that would be called that.
So we'll do the science lesson, right? And most of chat knows this, but just in case you're not big into certain cichlids, that big like giant thing on its head is a basically massive fat deposit, and it's what's referred to as a nuchal hump. And so they're typically only present on males, and it's kind of like, think about how like the rainbows get their, like, we like to call it their headlight when they're trying to court.
Uh-huh.
This is an indication of how healthy a male is when it comes to courting females for spawning.
Ah, that's so cool.
There's some other purposes with them. It depends on the species, but that particular monster, they're known for having massive nuchal humps, larger than many of the other species that get them. So yeah,
I need a
so far the
I need
vote is
to
very strong
add
in
a
favor of this.
song with my Nico or whatever it's there. How you pronounce it?
Oh,
I need to make a fish like parody video of that.
the cringe is strong. So okay,
Lady hum.
so far we'll let people vote whether or not they want to see a video where you guess names on random fish. I think it would be fun. Stephen P. I too wish to be judged favorably for my fat deposits.
I'm working on mine.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Anyway, so a couple things we're doing around the fish room, and then we'll get into open Q&A. And by the way, folks, at any time, feel free at Bentley Pascal. Makes it easy for me to see them, whether it's for me or my wife. Shoot your questions. This is going to be a pretty free-flowing chat this particular week. But so a couple of things. We talked a little bit about some changes to the initial idea of the tank you're going to do, the rimless tank, and how we're thinking about long term, instead of them going into what was the guppy mansion before, the really big tank, instead of having guppies go into the tank you're designing. And part of that is like, being a rimless tank, there is a risk with rainbow fish because they're dumb and like to jump. Not them jumping out of the giant open tank.
So actually on that note, the kind of half the reason why I wanted to be on this stream tonight was actually to talk about that. Can I please have coolie loaches in that tank? Please, I need little noodles in my life. They'd be so cute.
So with that, considering we're like talking about moving as we get more and more guppies in my breeding project, putting
Hmm.
guppies there. The coolies are a pretty similar temperature and requirement, so they can live with the guppies with basically no problem.
Oh,
So
oh, that's
the
awesome.
short answer is yes.
Yay.
The long answer is more explaining why it's a yes. But
You
yeah,
love
we
curly
can do
nurses.
coolies. The question then becomes like what kind of coolies. But
There's so
I think
many.
you like the striped ones that are kind of like black and yellow.
Yeah, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Oh
Sorry, yeah. You
no,
married this cringe.
I did indeed. Uh, Amazon Pancakes would like to know: do you like discus?
Do I like discus? Honestly, um, I've seen a few that are really pretty. Like they're super pretty if I remember correctly. Like they're very vivid in color, like rainbow fish, aren't they?
Yes. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of what we would call designer discus, which is they've been kind of like betas. They've been bred for certain colors or patterns, and then there are more like wild type discus, which they're less ridiculously vibrant, but they're still quite colorful and still have some very interesting patterns to them.
Oh,
I
interesting.
personally like the
Oh,
wild types a little more.
yeah.
So like as an
Like
example, let me quickly do
this blue
this.
diamond discus is really pretty.
Okay, so you're looking at
Say.
some. So like Blue Diamond is a designer discus. But if you were to look up
Ah,
like a wild Peruvian discus as an example,
mhm.
you'll see kind of like the difference in that like the vibrancy of blues or reds is a little less or it's in smaller portions. Now granted there are what we refer to as like a
Oh.
green discus that is a wild type discus. So they have some green tones and
Mhm.
stuff like that, but it's kind of just the difference between whether you want the like crazy colorful ones or whether you appreciate the like original wild types instead of some of the ones that have been bred for color.
It looks like the natural or the more natural ones are they almost look like angelfish more with like the striping with the ones that like we have.
Yeah, so they're very similar in that they're both technically types of cichlids.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're to put it in the most basic way, they are angelfish and discus are more closely related than say like um a lot of the other discus like because the or rather other cichlids. So like a flower horn is a cichlid. It's technically a crossbreed to get it to look like that, but that is a type of cichlid. And you can
Oh,
see it's a
okay.
way different body. It doesn't have that bigger kind of almost dinner plate esque shape to it. This is
Yeah, definitely.
not very scientific. I want to be very clear because I'm sure the
Mhm.
science nerds will eat me alive. but but they're a little more closely
So
related. So Leo's asking, will you be getting the Switch 2 on launch?
I yes, begrudgingly, yes.
We're trying
I
to. We're trying
I
to.
well, yeah, but like I have my opinions about certain games coming out for it. Like, believe me, like I'm sorry, I will not go into like an hour-long conversation about the Switch 2. I apologize. It's my husband's stream, but I I'm looking forward to a Gen 10 of Pokemon. I'll just say that. I'm looking forward to Gen 10 Pokemon.
Yeah, so like one of the things that we're doing as a um date activity? Is that the way we want to
Yeah,
put it?
I would call it that. Sure.
So like one of the things we're doing as a date activity is our goal is probably like every other week. We're just gonna dedicate some time and we're playing through Pokemon Scarlet and Violet together. And then one of the things that she's doing is we have this little like portable voice recorder. And so we're gonna record just what we're talking about. And then her goal is to do some like some animations. So there's a
Like,
type of
really poorly done.
yeah, really there's a type of like kind of niche or semi-popular thing where people will break down like their D&D games that they record into like low quality animations and chop it all up so it almost makes no sense, but it becomes kind of funny because everything's kind of out of context and chaotic. And she wants to do that with us playing Pokemon together. On top of it just being
I'm trying
something
to
for us to play games together, because I basically don't play very much games at all right now.
I'm still trying to figure out if I'm gonna have you I had to figure out, how I'm gonna draw you.
No, no. But yeah, the goal is for us to get a Switch 2, at least one for the house.
Yeah.
Ideally two, because then if there's any games to play. Oh yeah, Leo, you make a good point going to Costco. We signed up for the Nintendo um
I put
they
myself in the lottery
how did they
essentially to
call it?
get
They said
the reorder.
expressing your interest. I mean, it's basically a lottery whether or not you get to purchase. But yeah, Costco's a good
But
idea.
it's the US, we can't say that though, so it's not a little shit.
But yeah, so we'll try to get at least one Switch, potentially two, just in case, because like brother-in-law James plays quite a lot of Switch as well, and I occasionally join in for a game, but I totally don't need one. We don't need three. If we get one, we'll be happy. Two would just be like really nice, but not necessary. One of those kind of things.
Like, I'll just leave on this note. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe looks better than Mario Kart World. Moving on.
Wow. Okay, so running water. I missed the algae challenge. How is that going? And I'll get to yours in just a sec. So I'm still putting out shorts once a week, and basically I need to make a video on rosy barbs because of how much algae they have been absolutely decimating in that tank. I mean, they have cleaned that up quite well. It's pretty impressive, because there's that tank still gets fed, regular feeding. I feed it. We're getting into summer, so now I feed it 5 days a week. So basically, it's like 2 days of feeding, a fast, 3 days of feeding, a fast. Um, just because I like to make sure, because there are rainbows in there, that they don't get overly plugged up, especially because my running rivers are getting a little older, and as they get older, they sometimes can run into some constipation issues, even with a
Oh.
balanced-ish diet. Because rainbows think they have bottomless stomachs and just eat and eat and eat and eat and eat if you let them. So
Mhm.
I try to fast them to help make it a little easier on their systems. So far, that seems to be encouraging a lot of algae eating, which is great. Which is great. So you has said the following. Uh, for both of us, my wish is that both of you rejoin Final Fantasy 14 with me,
Oh.
and we'll name our FC the Loach Club.
I don't know, honey. What do you think? Is that I've never played the game,
So
so I've always been
FC is Free Company, which is like your guild group, whatever, right?
uh-huh.
I will say, like, the story of 14 overall, even if you play it as purely a story experience and not any of like the content that I used to do, which is a lot of raiding and stuff like that, the story is just
Mhm.
really good. And a lot of the encounters, even at a casual level, are really fun to experience. The only
Nice.
problem is the like monolithic number of hours it takes.
Well, I mean, I was planning on I'm trying to well, we have a few things in the works for my side, but maybe after, that'd be kind of fun. I'm willing to try. I'm
But yeah,
I'm not a PC gamer, so I'm a noob to PC gaming, so it'll be a bit.
well, it is on some consoles too.
Oh, okay.
You can play it on console, but you can play controller on PC. So, and it
Ah,
actually is
technology.
a game that plays fairly well on controller if you're more
Mm,
used to using a controller. But it also plays extremely well on PC. And it just comes
nice.
down to like, as you start to learn how to play, optimizing where you put each of your skills, which is not that hard.
Very cool.
Not that hard. Some jobs are harder than others, but they've made things better. over time to make it easier so that the number of skills doesn't become hard to deal with. But yeah, it's something
Got
we've talked about a few times because I would really like her to experience the story. But we have a few kind of gaming projects. So we're starting with Pokemon. We got a couple of things that we're going to record because
it.
my streaming wife, who does all her game streams, is also doing a bit of
Mhm.
YouTube. So there will be we're doing some dedicated edited content, which is all stuff she's editing, has nothing to do with me. So don't stress. It's not like I'm gonna like suddenly slack even harder on my YouTube. Uh,
No, I
this is
promise
all
he'll be focused on fish
this,
here.
this is all stuff she's doing. But like we're gonna similar where it's kind of a we'll do recording sessions where we'll play. Our first plan was like some retro games, so I think our goal is to start with Final Fantasy VI because that's both our favorite Final Fantasy game. And
Yeah.
a slight secret. I think I've talked about this a long time ago, but it's been long enough that people have probably forgotten. We met via, effectively speaking, email, and one of the things that she kind of got my attention with was the fact that she feels Final Fantasy VI is the best Final Fantasy. Also, me, I'm an old man. I like the old Super Nintendo ones. Sue me. So, a lot of our like early getting to know each other and talking was talking about those kind of games, like retro RPGs. So, one of the things that she proposed as another thing of us spending time and playing some games together is going back and playing some of those retro RPGs and recording them with like her digital avatar, and I will also have a digital avatar. Be afraid, be very afraid. Uh,
Do you guys see the white teddy bear here? You want to explain that? I mean,
I can, yeah, sure. So, when she designed her avatar, she wanted to have something that was like sort of interactive. Me, Santoro, quit being a dog. Quit barking.
oh,
The child.
darn.
Um, so I recorded a ton of lines at our friend's like recording booth, and she has this thing. It's called a stream deck that basically acts as a soundboard. So her little bear is kind of characteristically me, and it interacts with her, and sometimes it praises her, sometimes it makes fun of her. It depends on how she's playing, what have you. So basically, a version of, and this is common in VTubing for those that are not familiar. I know this is weird for you dedicated fish people, but
Sorry.
this is what some of us nerds are into. So they'll have like what we call lore, right? Kind of like how we have the story of why some of our fish end up in the hobby. They have lore of how their digital characters have come to life or what have you. And part of the lore is that the bear is like kind of alive. And you could think like the movie Ted for those of you who have seen that, except slightly different, little more anime esque. But basically, I will have like a bear avatar that we've had some kind of funny ideas to make it interesting and funny.
Mhm.
And so we'll record playing those games, and I will be represented by a little bear avatar while we do all these recordings
Mhm.
for her edited YouTube stuff. So if you guys care about that, when we get to that point, I'll put a link at some point in like my community tab, and if you guys care, you can check it out. It'll be silly, but yeah, let's do some more fish stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
All right, let
Oh,
me see
I
here.
know, believe me, Final Fantasy 14 with Papa Limo's name, I've seen that scene, I'm not prepared.
Let me see here. I want to make sure I haven't like missed a question. Which again, if you guys have any fish related questions, whatever, please feel free to ask them. At Bentley Pascal makes them easier for me to see them. But all the usual stuff, I'm pretty easy. Chat's going chill. We're getting into the nice weather. Fish streams and stuff are going to calm down, which is good because if you have questions, easier to get them answered because there's less competition. Pumpkin coffee just came in. Oh my god, a waifu. Yeah, this is my wife's
Hi.
digital avatar. It's what she does her game streaming with, and will eventually be doing more and more like YouTube content with it as well. That'll supplement her game streaming. But when she joins the stream, she uses her digital avatar. Now we've got the like motion one instead of just the still frame picture. We've
Yeah,
figured
I
out
really like
technological
this.
upgrades. Yeah, it's a little more
It was
interactive
so
for certain.
dumb. Yeah. I mean, I could use more of my motion toggles if you want.
I don't think we need to go too crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fishy stuff. So get back to it. We're for your tank, so it'll eventually get guppies, but in the short term,
Mhm.
definitely coolie loaches. I have to
And
get all of the hardscape ready and then be your muscle and start putting it in there,
heck yeah.
which hopefully soon we can get that before it starts getting too crazy hot. We're finally getting enough good weather that I can go and like reclaim hardscape, etc. And then the few guppies that are left in the guppy mansion will eventually get moved, and we'll put rainbows in that tank, so they'll have more
Mhm.
room, and or we can just have more of them, one of maybe both. I mean,
More.
and probably some of the rosy barbs will move over there because they don't need to be in their current tank long term. They're there for a
Gotcha.
job, and then we'll move them over where they have room because that tank's a little small for the number of fish in it right now.
That's
Uh,
fair.
the guppy breeding project's going pretty well. All the females that are in there, there's now a singular male. The females have gotten pretty chonky, so I'm guessing that one of them is probably going to have babies in a couple weeks to a month. Because she's definitely got a big
Ooh,
old gravid spot. So get more guppies going.
congratulations.
Also, the lilies of that tank have been going gangbusters. I know you've seen it. It's like steadily getting completely covered. I needed to trim it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's
It's
been growing crazy in there.
okay. Two fish related questions from Leo. What's your go to for fattening up corridoras? Um, so I like a combination of things. In general, I have found that Extreme's bottom wafers are really good, but I think if I was really trying to fatten them up, I would do depending on the species, you kind of want to figure out what their diet is naturally or whatever the breeder's diet typically is, like how heavy they need to go on protein. Um, a mixture of spawn and grow and something else from Rapashi is really, really effective. So I tend to like having a little bit of like the Soylent Green mixed in with spawn and grow because that gives enough vegetable matter to make sure you're not doing too much, but also giving significant protein in the spawn and grow. I've found that Corys and Loaches in general tend to like go hog wild on that stuff, so that would be a suggestion. You could also look at like some frozen foods can work really well, but like if you have other fish in the tank, they might get to it before really a significant amount of it gets down into the Corey's realm, right down low. So yeah, that's why I tend to use like a mixture of sinking and non-sinking foods when I have a mixture of Corys and non-Corys in a tank.
I'm sure Pash is great for fish, but gosh, it stinks so bad.
Yeah, it definitely is very smelly. It's very smelly,
I'm sure
but
I'm sure they love that, but I'm like, oh my
but
gosh.
that's why fish like it. It's very stinky. It's kind of like the dogs. Like you give them a chew stick, and it's like the stinkier the better.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't found spawn and grow to foul the water too quick. The thing that I do is I don't mix it straight. I cut it. So no more than 50% of my mixture is usually spawn and grow, and that tends to help preventing the water from getting a little ugly. And also just like don't put a massive chunk of Rapashi in there. Like you make it up and you cut it into small cubes. You can even cut it into like think like slightly thicker postage stamps in the grand scheme of things, right? Where maybe it's like a quarter-inch thick or an eighth of an inch thick and about the size of a postage stamp, and throw in one or two, depending on the number of fish you have in there, and let them eat it up. And then your filter will take care of the rest, right? They'll any particulates that get missed and stuff should be fine. Bob Purcell, will you try shrimp so you can raise some shrimplets? Uh, so okay, here's my perpetual problem.
Shrimp.
Most of my tanks are larger tanks, right? And anytime I have a larger tank, I I basically can't help myself and I throw a rainbow fish in it. And rainbow fish murder shrimp. However, um, I am trying to figure out like one of my small goals. Well, it's going to depend a lot about how the rest of the summer goes because it's looking weirdly busy. But like one of my goals is to kind of change my how my desk is set up here, and quite literally like where it is in my room. And if I can figure out spacing correctly to reset up a smaller tank upstairs, I think that would be something where I'd be more interested in trying to do shrimp as opposed to fish. Because then I don't want to say it needs less maintenance, but it's one of the things where it's like, it's slightly more passive and I can feed something that's easier to store, which most shrimp food is relatively easier to store. Where if I was like doing another rainbow fish tank, as much as I love rainbow fish, up here, that requires a little extra work, tends to need more water changes. They like to splash water all over the damn place if they're given the opportunity when they're going at food, things like that. So there's some thoughts there, but I'm also kind of and this is me being very very honest with all of you. I'm at a point where because of the amount of things between how much I work and some of the other things I do, that I have to be very realistic about how much tank maintenance time I have and whether or not I can actually like take good care of an extra aquarium. Um and it's just one of those things where like I've had to have a few, the best way to put it is like self conversations about like we need to look at a few things at what we're doing and see where we can make things slightly better. And is that
Mhm.
less tanks? Is that just not changing the number of tanks until I can get it to a point of ever having a room that has automation in it? Which inside my house I won't do, and I want to be very clear as to why.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to risk having water tubing running all over the place inside my house. Whereas if I was doing it in my garage, I wouldn't care because it's a concrete floor. So until I can do some things there, which there's been some conversations with my, I know it's a long rant about stuff you probably don't care about, but it's like one of my long term goals is to build a fish room in my garage. But I'm not so pushing on it that like I'm trying to force it. It's just if I get the opportunity to do so, that's what I would like to do, and then move all my fish out there. And just a matter is like my garage is basically my family's storage. It's as bad as that
Yeah.
sounds, but we've had some conversations between my mom and I, especially because a lot of that stuff is her stuff. Um, and so there is some things occurring. It's just trying to figure out timing, and a lot of it is her taking time off and things like that to get a lot of the stuff that's in my garage out that would make space, and then potentially we could start looking at more realistically trying to do something like that. But it's also funding it.
Mhm.
2 layoffs, basically 2 years in a row, has completely effed my personal finances.
Yeah.
So like the money
Well,
I had
hopefully
saved to
we're on
do
the
things like that,
upside.
stuff like that, is gone. But like hopefully things kind of recover in the near term, and then I can look at that more realistic. Is all it comes down to.
I think it will.
Yeah, it's just patience, right? And then
Mhm.
so there was a question about what our like dream aquarium would be. My dream aquarium is very
Ooh.
different than my wife's. My dream aquarium
Yeah.
is very different than my wife's. However, I will say, um, assuming we had the garage empty, uh, either one of the I can't remember who makes them, but like Lucas and several other people had them. They're the like plastic lined ones that you can get off of Amazon. They have like a 450 and a 900-gallon variant that uses just like the metal support rods around it and it has the clear front panel. I cannot remember the manufacturer right now, but you guys will certainly know. We thought about putting one of those together and building a danger noodle touch pond. So just a bunch of
Yay.
loaches in a big pond so that you can sit beside it because they're very friendly toward and a lot of it's their curiosity. You can put your hand in and let them like eat out of your hand or curl around your hand or just nibble on all the individual hairs on your hand like they do anytime I
I'm
try to
pretty
clean their tank.
I'm pretty convinced that like our loaches think like your hand is like the loach god that comes in and like cleans things because your hand like with the like your fingers like as tentacles are like the god loach is here.
So that would be like probably a thing that, assuming we had space in the garage, as like the cool, interesting, outside of my norm kind of tank that we would do, it would be that. The other thing that honestly I will really want to do, and this is going to probably surprise people, because it's not a giant rainbow fish tank. As much as I would love one, right? Because I would love to
Mhm.
see, like, as an example, let's say I was rocking it like Jeremy from Aquarium Domain, right? My buddy. And I could build some crazy large tank, like 1,200 gallons or something like that. My goal would basically
Mhm.
be building a small kind of small 1,200 gallon river for the running river rainbow fish, so that I could put like
Ooh.
100 of them in it, 200 of them in it, and let them school in a very large system. Um, that would be really cool. But realistically, my dream tank, and this is might sound weird for me, but if you've watched me long enough, you'll make perfect sense. What I really want to do is something either 4 foot by 4 foot or 4 foot by 8 foot that has no side panels at all. It's just a top down pond only for growing plants. So all I would have in there is basic maintenance stuff, which probably in the end would actually be just a bajillion cherry shrimp and some autocyclists. And the whole goal would just be to be my basically playground. So high CO2, high light, the ability to grow whatever the heck I want, not worry about fish whatsoever, just have, effectively speaking, maintenance fish that are there to make sure that we don't run into algae problems, and
Mhm.
focus entirely on the plants. Because one of the things I do miss from like my plants for profit days was experimenting with like harder to grow plants,
Mhm.
or things like that. And it's just part of it is the way that my schedule is right now. It's hard to do that in a dedicated fashion, and basically sacrificing an aquarium where I can't keep fish that I really really want to keep. But if I had like a larger fish room, I could have that kind of in the center, right? Is that's my play space, and then I've got all these tanks around me that are full of rainbow fish, and I get to enjoy them that way. And
Mhm.
honestly, like beyond that, the only thing that would be interesting is like legitimately a very large koi pond in my backyard. Um, but yeah, those are the things that interest me the most. Number one,
Okay.
it's the promise
Oh,
tank
sorry.
for my wife, the noodles.
Okay, can I up the ante and be like, hey, honey, if we ever won the the lotto, I want the Cabela's pyramid in Memphis and just fill that whole place with loaches. Yes.
Do you hear this? She wants to buy a pyramid to fill with loaches.
What? They're adorable.
I am not rocking Bass Pro Shops level money. I hate to break it to you, honey.
No, I know, but it's just like
Even if
if
I win a
money was no
lotto.
object.
Oh, sure. Because I mean, there's some crazy aquariums you can build out there, and if you think about it, right?
Mhm.
Because dojo loaches can do just fine in a pond.
True.
So you could, in theory, do two different ponds. You could have a smaller pond that is still quite large, that is just
Mhm.
loaches, and then have a different pond system for koi. If you had like,
Well, you won't let me have a manatee, so I guess I'll go for that.
you won't let me have the endangered species that only exists kind of in one area.
No, I'm sorry. I'll suffice for the plush.
Oh, so this is a good question. Leo wants to know, what do you think about hill stream loaches and dwarf chain loaches?
There's more loaches.
So go ahead and look up dwarf chain loaches.
There's more loaches to be.
Oh, there's a
Oh my
lot of
god.
loaches.
Oh no, what have you done? Okay, what was the first one?
Dwarf chain loach. I'm actually thinking of putting these in the tank that James aquascaped. That's underneath the angel tank.
Oh, they're cute. Look at those little spots. Oh my
They're
goodness.
like snail murdering machines, by the way.
Oh,
They are
well, that's good.
excellent snail killers. So if you have a snail
And what
problem,
was the other one?
you want a hillstream loach, which we have a type of hillstream loach in James's tank.
Oh.
But there's
Oh.
reticulateds tend to be the most common. Those are the ones that look like little alien face huggers.
Oh, I
I
thought
like
that
them. I
was
think they're
more I
cool.
thought that was a pleco. I apologize. I was wrong. I actually thought that was a pleco.
Oh,
Neat.
Ghostly Pickle, what's up, buddy? That is a certain person I worked with at the Microsofts,
Oh, hey.
whom we've talked about recently.
Oh,
There
hi.
we go. She's caught on.
Sorry. I'm dumb. Hi.
Let me see. Make sure I haven't missed another question. A Nabokov fan waits for Bentley to say he wants a barb tank. I actually do like a lot of barbs, but if I was going to do anything, that would be Denison barbs, so the Roseline shark, and that's because they go really well with rainbows. Also, they're just
Roseline sharks are
they're
so
a cool
pretty.
fish. I
Yeah, they are.
cannot tell you, and I know I've said this recently. I cannot tell you how like passively upset I am that my really good group of big chunky Roseline sharks are in my retirement tank,
I know.
because it's like I can't move them anywhere else, and I wish I could, but I can't risk it. Queen Bleh of Ghosting. Can Daphnia survive in the winter cold? Kinda, sorta. Daphnia don't necessarily do good in super cold water, but they do kind of recover when the water comes back. You just won't have a completely active colony. So in general, you want to keep them warm. I don't know of a good way to like. I don't know a good analogy to explain like how they function, but basically, kind of like annual killifish, right? The cold goes away, they kind of lay some eggs, and they don't keep coming back. But then the water gets warm again, and they show back up. It's not accurate. I want to be very clear. This is not science. This is just like the best way for me to describe it simply. But yeah, in general, they prefer warm water. Most of the people I know who've had a lot of success with like continuous Daphnia cultures, they keep them at least like kind of a semi-tropical temperature, so usually like 70-ish, sometimes more like 74. It just depends on what they're trying to do. I know that they can go lower than that, like 60s and things like that, but it's about if you're trying to do them as a food source, it's optimal temperatures for speed of growth and the amount of like food they can eat is that what most people are targeting. In regards to shrimp tanks, don't do it. No shrimp tanks, because you'll want more and more and more and more. I really only at this point there's really only like 2 shrimp I actually care about keeping. I don't have like I like shrimp, but I don't have the super shrimp bug like a lot of people get into. Yellow neocaradinas I really love. I would like to be able to keep a colony of them, and then either cherries or blues. Like blues inherently, like obviously I wear blue all the time, right? Blue's my favorite color. But
Mhm.
cherries just stand out in a lot of the things that I do naturally, so there is an inherent want to go toward cherries. Plus, they're like brain dead easy compared to almost every other shrimp. But most of the good blues are kind of similar, so it's kind of like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You know that old saying, right? But
Mhm.
I don't like really have a massive desire to keep like fancy shrimp or crystal shrimps, green jades, oranges, black roses, like none of those. I I I tried some early on, and at this point, I'm to a point where like I just like bright yellow shrimp and either blue or red. Red because they're easy,
That's
blue because
fun.
they're my color. But
Fair.
red and yellow both pop off of the plants I prefer to keep better. So in general, I kind of like steer toward those. Yeah. 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 Dwarf chains are the most adorkable in groups. Yes, they're like most loaches, very social, and absolutely silly when you get them in a good sized group. I have seen some good sized groups of them. They're wonderful. You want to go back to your roots, huh? I see you. I see you trying to plug it. I see it. If I was really trying to go back to my roots, I'd be trying to go back to Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah,
Which that
I
game
heard
is
that was
still
also a nice
surprisingly
game.
active, which is crazy.
That doesn't surprise me at all with what I've heard, how amazing it is.
Bob Purcell gonna go after the gold Rose Lion barbs from Dan. He does still bring them in every once in a while? No, I like standards. I like basic Rose Lion sharks. The golds look cool. The problem is there's just too much. Because it's a genetic defect, there are too many like health issues and shortening of lifespans that occur. And I really like when I like Roseline sharks the most is when they get big and chunky and they just like hang around in big groups and socialize with each other. It makes them that's where they're the most fun for me. So in general, I just prefer the basic ones. Plus, I actually like because of their natural coloration, when you mix them with rainbows, they help each other both pop. Because the base silver body with those yellow and red streaks pop out, and rainbows against fish that don't have as much like color everywhere also then pop out a lot. So they kind of like help each other in a weird complementary fashion, at least to my eyes. So yeah, the normal ones. Where if you start getting the golds, they get that kind of uh, almost yellowish gold color because of the albinism that's kind of in their bloodline, or I guess they're technically kind of leucistic, right? Um, and that causes their colors to like mesh together to me. It's not as interesting. I'm very if you haven't caught on, I have some like weird particulars in how I like to do things in my life. I'm a weirdo.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. I still love you.
If you don't have loaches, do you even fish keep? That's fair.
Do you even gym if you don't take a selfie? God, I love that
How
stuff.
can I
That's so
contact Shrimpy Business? What's Nick's social media? I mean, like, their website's pretty good in general. They have a number of different contact methods there, as I recall, but let me see if I can get you a direct answer. So they do have links to all their social media. So like here's their Facebook as an example. Bonk. And no, I don't need the discount or whatever. And here is their Instagram. Tried contacting them, but no response. I ordered from them 2 weeks ago. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, Calvin, do me a favor. This is my email. Bentley.pasco@gmail.com, but it's in chat. Shoot me an email. Just give me your order number. All you have to do is send me your Shrimpy business order number. I'll message Nick. I kind of have the bat phone, and hopefully we can get a response. It's very possible that they're super busy right now because you're getting into a super busy time of the year for most fish stores when it comes to ordering. They might also be dealing with trying not to dive into this too deep, but they might be dealing with problems surrounding tariffs and importing, to where they probably had a big rush of orders hit them, and they're probably trying to process through that because they are again they're just a 2-person team. It's a husband and a wife. So they might have a lot of stuff that's in. They might have got more orders than they're used to, and they're trying to process through it. There's a lot of potentials, but yeah, just shoot me an email. I'll try and get you some help, Calvin. I'm pretty sure it's completely accidental, but we can hopefully get those things taken care of. Leo, you've never heard of Shrimpy Business? I did a tour there, man. We've interviewed him. That's the chemical engineer who quit his chemical engineering job to sell shrimp online. Really, really cool couple. They're just wonderful people. Love them to death. But yeah, shoot me an email. I'll help you out. Okay. Any other questions? Me or my wife? It can be non-fish related. Obviously, we've talked a lot of video game stuff because that's what a lot of what my wife does. She's just a casual enjoyer of fish that emit gaseous expressions.
I'm pretty convinced like loaches are like my spirit animal at this point.
They're pretty great.
It's just probably what it
They
is.
do give you heart attacks basically multiple times a day, though.
Oh my gosh, Princess Loach, that old grandma. Gosh darn it!
Leo.
Oh,
Why is Charmander the best starter Pokemon?
um, uh, Squirtle was better. Squirtle was so much better. Sorry, Squirtle. No, Charmander's so over you. Charizard is like a dead horse that every Pokemon trainer has beaten 5 times at least. Gosh darn it. I hate Charmander so much. Chikorita in Gen 2. That's where it's at. Play Pokemon on hard mode. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting all fired up about freak Pokemon. Gosh darn it. It's making me all dizzy about it. Bentley's also learned I come up with pretty good Pokemon names as well. Like so I don't know if you guys know about like Pokemon like doubles competitive or anything like
Go
that.
ahead, I will
But
help
like,
though.
oh, okay, sorry. So
No,
I
go ahead.
have
Keep explaining.
some interesting Pokemon on my team, and I have it's a very interesting team that allows me to transfer one one Pokemon's ability to go to the next one and pass it through. So my team's name is called Slap and Pass. And so I have a couple of my Pokemon's names are pretty great, but my favorite one, I think Bentley's the one that got him the best, was Disney Fast Pass for my mousehold.
Why did you not save this image, machine? Oh, I see why.
What is
Because
my
I saved it to the wrong place.
what is my favorite Pokemon region? Oh man. Yes. So Malamar has superpower or has contrary. So every time it uses superpower, it doubles its it raises attack and defense each time. Baton pass that out. Bring that into my Calyrex. Have a power or level about oh, by the way, for those other Pokemon nerds that are out there, if you guys do play doubles, I'm so sorry I'm going on about this. Probably no one gives a crap about this, but Alcremate is a really great Pokemon partner. It's due to the fact that you can actually use Decorate through Protect on your Pokemon. So I have a Pokemon that can literally in 3 turns by using 2 Protects and attacking 1 turn, can go up to attack power of 952 in 3 turns while protecting myself twice. It is broken.
So this is just the image that's up right now. This is a mousehold. And you can see why it's a bunch of mice. Why she calls it the Disney Fast Pass. So yeah, that's you've heard my wife nerd out, and when she does this with me, I'm usually just doing this
I'm sorry.
because like the statistics and things are not things that I understand because I'm not that like deep into the game. But yeah.
Pokemon math is a real thing. Like there are calculators for this stuff. Like, oh my gosh! Like I literally was doing math for like everything.
Games are math in the end.
I hate
Yeah.
math.
So you're not going to get Mario Kart World?
I will get it. it just okay. Nintendo for me is known for its very bright colors. I feel they went into the wrong. Well, I don't want to say wrong direction. They went too realistic, so they went the Forza route, which I really appreciate. But at the same time, it's just like it seems like the colors are just so dull. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. But it just Nintendo's not supposed to be realistic. I mean, it's not supposed to be realistic. Let's be clear.
But a bunch of your friends will get it, and you will all play it together. So inherently, you will want to have it to play with your friends.
Yeah. I have to go to peer pressure. I actually want to play games with my friends, I guess. You know, that thing I do.
Yeah, so you're not generally like really big on the open world games, right?
No, well, no, actually, no. It's
Yeah.
just like when I did not like Breath of the Wild. I did not like it. I tried it. I was just not having fun. I'm like, give me some good temples. Give me a one crappy temple we all complain about, the water temple. Anyway, and then we can move forward. No, I'm not taking that back. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. What?
Everyone is open to have personal taste. That is what I will
Absolutely.
say.
Like,
You, in
absolutely.
general,
Like,
tend to like a little bit more guardrails on where it forces you to go. Until
I
it
thought we
comes to,
were
like,
cool.
as an example, in, like, Final Fantasy games, where you get to a point of where it's just like, you need to level up and power up, then you're kind of free world. But when it's completely
Yeah,
free
like
world from the
Endgame.
start, that's a little rougher on you, as far as your enjoyment of a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Where
I mean, that is very true.
how did I let this
Did you
happen?
let this happen? Oh no.
Everyone has personal tastes. It's okay that
Mhm.
she's wrong. Okay, it's okay.
What?
It's
Hey,
okay.
you know what? Ocarina of Time was an amazing game. I will just say that. Ocarina of Time was an amazing game. I really like the Shadow Temple in Ocarina of Time.
Just trying to recover. So, gang, I want to thank you all so much for being in and tolerating my digital avatar wife tonight. I
Thank you
hope you
all
guys
for
had fun.
having me.
And again, thank you guys for voting on the poll. We'll probably do that video relatively soon where my wife just gets to see pictures of fish that she doesn't know the name of and has to make up a name. That'll be fun.
I'm so
Um,
excited.
and then we'll give her what the real name is and see if she can understand why, like, the common name for that fish is called that. So, gang, I want to thank you all so much for hanging in. I'm gonna leave you on the cliffhanger of outrage. I'm gonna do it. I'm
Which is
gonna
the
do it.
best Pokemon in Smash? I'll tell you. Pikachu.
It's pretty broken.
Ah, I hate my mic. I need a better. I have to pay the high frequency tax. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, when her voice pitches up high, sometimes it gets beyond what the mic can handle. We're trying to figure out some things for her.
Being a voice actor with a high pitched voice is not helping me. But anyway, bye guys.
Gang, as always, thank you so much for watching and stay awesome. You too, Shanny.